The reason why he's on my mind today, Rick Rubin, is because I was just listening to a podcast where he was on, and he said, and I quote, greatness is an offering to God. Rick Rubin said, greatness is an offering to God. And he was talking in the context of like he just doesn't want to do anything that's not great. And I don't hear him say one way or the other, but he apparently believes in God to some degree. And he said, greatness is an offering to God. And this reminded me of a conversation that I had with my wife the other night because she loves going to live theater and live music. And it does not matter if it's any good because she gets as much of a kick out of watching the audience as she does out of watching the performers. And what she's there interested in is what's with those people who want to get on stage and perform. And what's with us who want to come here and watch them? That is what's fascinating to her. And she never runs out of things to like be interested in with that. I, on the other hand, really feel gypped if I go to a performance and it's not very good. I really want it to be amazing. I really don't want to go if I don't think it's going to be very good. And part of that is because I'm just a stuck-up little snob about performing as I was raised a trained performer. Hey, Jeff, get in here and sing for the guests. But the other part is um, because I just so love seeing someone defy gravity, in a performance. If it's the Olympics, great. If it's a concert, great. Um, I was showing Dr. Sarah the other day that Sherry and I went and we created some art at this Merlot and I don't know what they call it, but downtown Bloomington, you can go and create. I don't have it in here, but you can go and create a painting. You pick a painting off the wall to replicate while you sit there and drink wine. We don't drink wine, so we didn't do that part, but not that there's anything wrong with that. We just don't. But we painted, and I think I'm a decent drawer. I've always been able to draw since I was a kid, and so I'm okay at painting. But I could just tell it wasn't great, and I just thought I probably won't keep painting because I just don't think I have the time at this point in my life to become great at it. And I just don't think I would enjoy it very much if I didn't think that I was going to be great at it. Whenever I'm asked to sing, and I still am sometimes at some concert or something, I really have to think about what it is and go, am I going to be able to be great? And I don't mean like I care what people think. I probably do, but that's not really what I mean. What I mean is I'm just not very interested in doing something that, you know, if I can get up and sing and people have to hold their breath because they're afraid I might not hit the note because it's going to take that much precision or that is exciting to me. And so anytime that I'm participating in something that I know I have no choice but to be mediocre or to see mediocrity, I am just not very interested. And that's just me. But when that's just me. And as a writer, you know, I write so much that I can't possibly make everything I write great. And that's just the fact of life. And because I get paid to do it and it's how I feed my family, I keep going. And I hope when it comes to the writing, I hope that something I do is going to be great, but I don't expect that very much of it will because I don't have the luxury of holding back everything that's not great. One of my favorite composers was a Frenchman named Duparc, and he had he has 14 songs out there that you can sing, and they're all amazing. But he actually wrote hundreds, but the rest of them he set on fire. Now that may be a pathology because I bet they were pretty good and they just didn't meet his standard. So so we all have to wrestle with this. I can't make every email I send a masterpiece because I've just got to get on with life. But I do at least hope that sometimes I can do something great. And when I do something great, I want it to be an offering to God. Okay. So the first little check for me when I hear that is that we're Christians. God is great. We're worms. Like we're Christians. Like we're supposed to not be prideful. We're supposed to take the low place at the table. We're supposed to be the servant to all. If you'd be great, be nobody. We're supposed to pick up our cross and die. But here's how I can reconcile it. If I pick up my cross and die, Jesus also said, you will find your life. And what kept me from being great, and I saw this very clearly as an opera singer, was the fear of disapproval. And so it kept my performance at 60% because I didn't want to mess up. I didn't want anybody to not like it. I didn't want directors to stop calling and saying, "We want you. You're good enough. You deserve to live because you can sing." So if you die to yourself, then you don't have to worry about anything except going deep and pulling out of you, out of your guts, out of the depth of you, the absolute deepest and best that you have to offer, and then offering it. Like it's like you're opening up, it's like you're exposing your neck and you're exposing your wrists to the world and say, do your worst. This was not for you, this was for God. But it is for you, the reader. But also, I know that half of you or 90% of you may even reject it. So, it's just a weird thing. And then when you're doing this for money, you're caught all the time going, what do people want? Versus what's in me to bring out, what's in me to create. And I think you should probably err on what's in me to create and then trust God for the results of is anybody going to want it? And if it's really going to be great, nobody out there right now even knows they want it yet. They won't know they want it until they see you. They see what you did, and then they go, I didn't even know this is what I needed. I didn't even know to look for this. And then once you make it, marketing is like, how do we go figure out what they're looking for? Remember the statement, the reader statement has something to do, or the core message or the promise. They think they want this, but they're struggling with this, but what they really want or what they really need is this. That's the thing that's coming out of you. So greatness as an offering to God, because you don't get greatness without Romans 12, 1 and 2. Offer your bodies as a living sacrifice. I have it written down here somewhere. That's what I'm looking for. Make sure I quote it correctly. You know the one, right? Therefore, I urge you, brothers, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your spiritual act of worship. Do not conform to the pattern of this world. That'd be mediocre art. This is not about art, but this passage, but it fits. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. So I think it's greatness is an offering to God because it is offering your body as a living sacrifice. When you put yourself out there, I don't know how many of you have not yet published something somewhere, newsletter, article, book, whatever. But if you have, the first time you did it, whether it was even if it's a tweet from your heart, the like, oh, I don't know if I want to say this, and I don't know if I want to put my name on this, and I don't know, can I be anonymous? It's a confession. When I first learned about the power of confessing your deepest, darkest sins out loud to a Christian, I thought, okay, well, I'll have to go to China and find a stranger at the airport, confess my sins, and then jump on the airport and come home and phew, did it. Because I was just like, there's no way. But the power came when I took my one of my best buddies and I said, here's what I did. And he looked at me and said, you're forgiven. That's not you. You're a new creation. And I was just like, whoa, that's why confession matters. And in some ways, true art is a confession. And if 95% of people want to crucify you over it, well, welcome to the Jesus Club. But 5% of people will go, ah, thank you for having the courage to tell me what was on your heart and to say it in that way and create it in that way. Now, how that all works together when an editor comes along and says this could be better, but you're like, no, that's so, we gotta wrestle because the editor is also trying to do greatness too, hopefully. And you're doing this, and it's a communal effort, and that's just something to struggle and wrestle with. But I agree with Rick Rubin that greatness is an offering to God because you don't get it without total death of self.